Hello and welcome to the BMW E36 and E46 rear track attack conversion installation video. Now we're going to be installing this on an E36, but the E46 is a similar process. We will add some visual notes under our product page to see where you have to drill for the E46. So on the E36 and the E46, you'll have a pair of the push rods, a rear strut brace, 2 coilovers, rockers, and a hardware sheet. On the hardware sheet, you're going to have 4 of these socket head bolts, 8 of the washers, 4 nuts, and that'll pretty much cover everything that you need for the rockers alone. Moving over to the rear strut brace hardware, you'll have 2 of these hex bolts, 4 of these thick washers, and 8 of these thinner washers. Then you have 2 slightly shorter hex bolts, followed by 4 nuts, and 3 smaller hex bolts, 8 washers, and 4 nuts. Now, if you're planning to use our Apex engineered trailing arms, we'll supply the bolts that mount to the push rods. If you're planning to run the OEM trailing arms, we do supply those bolts for the OEM trailing arms in order to allow for our cantilever suspension kit. Now we're gonna go over to the car and get this installed. All right, so here we have the pre-installed rear strut brace along with the cantilever system installed. You can see here that we left it unbolted. And now something to note is that we only temporarily installing this because the customer is actually gonna ask for a raw one and he's gonna physically weld the strut brace onto that. But in this video, we're just gonna go ahead and install the bolts on the top as the strut brace will be removed for the customer to weld in one permanently later on. Now, something to note is that with this kit, we do supply larger bolts that are in 3/8 size. So the tops of the strut towers that are originally 10 millimeters will have to be opened up slightly to accommodate these larger bolts if you opt to use our track attack rear strut brace with the whole cantilever that supply these bolts. You're welcome to use your own bolts, but we found these bolts have a little bit higher strength, especially can come handy with the track attack upgrade. So now we're gonna go ahead and attach the push rod through the strut tower, and then using the socket head, a few of the washers, and then the nut on the other end, you can go ahead and tighten the rocker down to 5 to 10 foot-pounds. So now whether if you're gonna be using the OEM trailing arms or our Apex engineered ones, you're gonna use this misalignment spacer that we supply with the kit. And go ahead and unthread the bolt on your trailing arm, insert the misalignment spacer, reapply the bolt, and then go ahead and thread that in. So then you're gonna go ahead and install the bolt onto the push rod. Now, if you're running the Apex rear trailing arm, you're gonna go ahead and torque this bolt down to 25 to 30 foot-pounds. If you're running the OEM trailing arms, go ahead and torque that to OEM spec. And that pretty much concludes the install on this track attack version of the rear suspension kit. You can see here, you have easy ride height adjustments by simply turning this hex adjuster. You can raise and lower the ride height.